Hello, everybody, to episode 3 of Chef Ivan Chan's MasterClass podcast. Today, I'll be interviewing one of my friends, Chef Sharon from Studio East, and all those Saronn Kitchen and all those different projects you have through the city of Halifax in the past few years. And now she's living in Middleton, Nova Scotia, back to the root, like farming and doing a lot of healthy stuff and a lot of stuff that everybody I believe that we should learn from. But without further ado, here's Chef here. Hi, how you doing?
Hello, Chef Ivan Chan. Thank you for having me.
So typically what we do every week on this little podcast I'm doing, we ask the guests and what they have drinks for the night to relax, and can you show us what you're drinking? You guys involve
It's
feed what she's doing.
9:30 Monday night, and we're starting off with a mocktail, which is I'm a mocktail girl. Not
Hmm.
very, I don't drink alcohol much these days. Well, for a long time now, so I like flavor. I like things that are herbaceous. So what I'm drinking here is something I made from our farm. I don't have to grow it, thank God. These are spruce tip um, syrup that I made with a lemonade, a fair trade lemonade with spruce tip syrup and lemon juice. It is amazing. It's so herbaceous, but it's got that really nice citrus notes coming through from the lime zest. So, anyway, if anybody wants to look up Fair State lemonade, you should, because there's another step that people are missing that makes lemonade like to the other level. And once you drink it, you'll never want to like switch. You
So you
wouldn't be able to
guys,
have just regular lemonade.
she is already showcasing how good she is or what she does. If I have her Instagram account
I'm
there
lying.
showing
It
on
sucks.
screen, so if you follow her, you should know that that's all fresh harvest, and so you've been working on it, and give us a treat tonight. And I'm gonna go plain Jane this week because I've been drinking wine for 2 weeks, so just have a little oolong tea there that I made. Want to kind of wake up a little bit, with all those things have been a little stressful in the past week or so. So it's like,
Yes.
nah, no more alcohol this week. I'm just gonna have a little simple tea. But thank
Oolong
you,
tea
Chef, for
is
joining
great.
us tonight. Great to have you.
Yeah, cheers. Cheers to
Cheers.
3 days of rain for Nova Scotia.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's been a weird.
it's been hard.
So starting the show, um, I would like to have you, chef, to tell everybody where you're from and what kind of food do you like to make and stuff like that. Because I've been following you for many years. I see so much your creations, and um, that's gonna be a good story for everybody to enjoy. Because I kind of look at yourself as somebody similar to me, have a heritage that is not from here. Um, and we really try to implement a lot of stuff that from our culture into our food to introduce to the people here. And may I, chef?
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, I am of a Cambodian descent. My mom's Cambodian, my dad's Cambodian, part a little bit Chinese and Thai. And of course, Cambodia is a country that borders an abundance of amazing other countries like Thailand, Vietnam. You've got Malaysia, you've got, China above. So there's all these influences that actually influence Cambodian food. And so, but I never grew up in Cambodia. So I came here as an immigrant from Thailand, a refugee camp, and we were sponsored here uh, over 30 something years ago. And so my collection of flavors and memories are created in my mom's kitchen. And we were poor, coming to as an immigrant to Canada and having like big family. I've got five siblings and six siblings, eight of us in total. So there's a lot of cooking in my house. Never ever gone to like fast food. Didn't know fast food until I was like working at Taco Bell when I was 14. But even then, we just never even gone to. And the most embarrassing thing is, the only thing I knew was actually Chinese buffet when I started going out with families and friends when we could afford it. Um, so it seemed like I didn't have a lot of repertoire of different, cuisines and things. But where I live was in Jane Finch, and you would never hear me say that. Like when I was in my teens, 'cause I was so embarrassed where I used to live. But now I'm just like, I'm badass, Like I grew up in Jane Finch, and there's just like 101 languages and cultures, like a melting pot of like every cultures. The only people you probably didn't see much were white people, which it's really strange. I used to, so I grew up kind of, really in that pot of flavors and smell. We even smell like it going to school, right? It's kind of, normal. So a lot of flavors and things, you know, you know, produce and things were from my mom's kitchen were really fresh. She would always have like catfish swimming in the tank or eel, a crab. Like, we didn't
The
live in
good
a fancy
stuff.
house, but we ate like always fresh things from the market. And my most favorite thing was going to we were always fighting to who gets to go to the parent with the parents, right? As kids, because there were six of us, right? And didn't fit all in the car.
Did you
So it was like
usually get in?
always a fight who could go shopping. And what's interesting, this conversation is really interesting because back then there were more variety of ethnic produce in Asian grocery stores than now today in the last 5 years. Things
Yeah.
started kind of really um, reduce a variety of such unique fruits and things that I haven't seen like since um, 20, 30 years ago. So it has changed a little bit. And also I'm here in Halifax for the last 10, 12 years and traveling and living different places. So again, limited to seeing the things. But in Toronto in general, my mom tells me there's things that we used to eat that doesn't come to the market anymore. So yeah, so grew up eating a lot of didn't cook. I'm self-taught. Didn't cook until moved out of the house. But my mom was always cooking like 3 times a day to feed all of us. So there was no fast food. Everything fresh, congee, rice porridge in the morning, rice and fish or something, fried in the afternoon, and then lunch was our hearty curry or stew. So we ate really, really healthy and very fresh. We never didn't even own a microwave because we didn't know it's just always fresh. My mom was always making fresh food. So that's the kind of stuff I was used to and didn't realize how lucky that was until, you move out of the house and you're like, oh my God, like what's a microwave? What's a toaster? Like I never, and even living on my own, I never had a microwave. But anyways, what was your question? Where I'm just kind of
Well, I mean, it's
going on
pretty
forever. Yeah.
obvious that you were brought up that way with the best type of food, something mom made, right? I mean, it's always those flavor back in the days with the right type of fresh ingredients is usually what's most memorable,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much make how good you are. I mean, it's all those things because you understand, you have the experience for it. I was the same thing growing up in
Yeah.
Hong Kong myself.
I was
It's
obsessed. I was obsessed. I would
hmm
hide in my closet because there were six of us, and this is kind of
okay.
embarrassing to hear, but now it's funny because you're older.
hmm
I would take as much food as I could, especially fruits. I love fruits, like everything that you could imagine. Lychee, mango, durian, everything. I would take the whole thing into a closet in the dark, hide. Nobody would know where I was. I would just like eat and just like until I just couldn't move. And that's how obsessed I was as a kid. I didn't know that was just I wasn't, I wasn't starvation mode or
hmm
anything. It's just like I was just obsessed. And I have a very good memory. Like in Thailand, we're living in the refugee camp. We had fresh markets, and my parents their first thing when they settled there was they had their own produce stand where they sold vegetables and everything you could imagine. They had mangoes, they had lychee, they had just everything from the Thai border that they could get, illegally. This is illegal market, right? As a refugee, you can't do business, right? But
Okay.
there's markets, and she would have like bags and bags of mangoes in our bamboo underneath our bamboo. We didn't have any storage, proper storage, right? Underneath our bamboo bed where the family slept, and when they leave to work, I wouldn't go to school. I would go through the all the produce, and I would bite through all the mangoes to see which one was ripe and not ripe, and which one I liked better. And at the end of the day, she's like, "Do you think it was a mouse that got through the bag? It was me." And I told him, "I like, oh, it was you all this time, just like messing with all the produce and just like tasting everything. They thought it was a
Hmm.
mouse or something that." And it's like, it's just
That's
like
obviously
I was only
like
4, 5, 6,
it
right?
was like good
So
training when you were that young. Just tasting everything and pretty much just testing your palate
nobody
and
knew I
training your
was
palate
training to be
already
a
back in
chef.
those days.
Training my taste bud. Yeah.
But hey, is I always say it's the original flavor. Like I always said, like I live on three things: traditional techniques, traditional flavor, but a creative creations from that two things is what I believe in. It is you have to keep it old school, right? Like the flavor, like the technique. But you know what is the food scene is changing every day. You need to able to adapt and present the food what is going on in the food industry then. And to me that's what a real good chef's supposed to do. And so I guess that's really obvious. Like you were brought up that way and you understand flavor. Like, of course, you have been really successful and that's a lot of fan. I even get a message from one of your fan earlier tonight. Like, oh my God, chef, are you nervous? You are interviewing her. I was like, oh, I just wrote back. Say yeah, of course. She's a sweetheart. I know her for
Supposedly a
a long
fan.
time.
I don't know.
They do exist. Trust me.
Okay. I
And
to me it never occurred that I have any fans, just
you
yeah.
do, and and if anyone have not looked at her Instagram profile, like there is some most amazing stuff that she posts. Like look at the stuff. I mean, what she's drinking when she harvests, you have a picture of it, and it's kind of funny that if you're really looking at like Chef was talking about how all those food back in those days is really start to disappear, but a lot of time is only so far from you. A lot of those stuff are just around you. You just need to learn and realize how to use it, right?
Thank you
So,
for saying that for me. I don't have to talk anymore. You can talk.
well, I mean,
But
I'm
yeah,
just trying
yeah.
to tell you how I feel. I mean, you are educating me to be what you're doing. Of course, as a friend, I've been really closely follow everything you post and I kind of like, man, I wish I'm there, like that I can have all those fresh butcher proteins and stuff like that. I'm so jealous because where we are in a city is so limited, right? There's only certain supply we can get stuff.
You should have came to visit us when we had
I
the
should have.
cows.
I should have.
Like
Really, I.
I was talking about like when we had studios, we used to bring our pigs, like whole
Mm-hmm.
pigs, to.
Yep.
I always think about you and how much you would appreciate it, right? But the younger cooks, but even if just like if you're doing it by yourself, it's not that much fun. It's like a
No.
party when you're like
Mm-hmm.
butchering an animal that you raised, but like there's a sense of like sharing that hard work and saying, look at
Mm-hmm.
this beautiful product. Like you can tell the difference, like Mangalitsa pigs is what we're raising. And if you look at the meat, you wouldn't, and compare to store bought commercial pork, it's white, and the flavor is totally different when you're eating Mangalitsa if you've had it.
Mm-hmm.
Some may have. It tastes like beef and it looks like beef. Like
Yep.
the meat is red. Um, so yeah, you take a lot of pride, and when you can share that pride when you're breaking down the animal with somebody
Mm-hmm.
else who appreciates it, it would have been so much fun, and that would have been you. But you know what? You
Well,
can do it.
yeah, hey, we
You know,
it's still happening.
yeah.
Can I spoil it and Ray won't kill me? So, Chef Ray Bear messaged me about what 2 weeks ago, and I actually tell Chef that I was nervous because we talk about it here and there about doing a dinner together, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
probably one of my most shocked moment in the past couple of months. I got that message, and Chef was like, "Hey, Chef, you want to do a dinner together in the fall?" I, s- I was so nervous.
Why are you
I
shocked?
was I was telling everybody I talked to, oh my gosh, Chef Ray Bear messaged me, and well, of course, I want you to get involved too, right? I was like, my God, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I would be so embarrassed to stand right next to him in the kitchen
Oh, come on.
to try to keep up with him. That's exactly how I
He
feel.
when you would just work the walk and he would just be fried. Like
Yeah.
we're talking about like how amazing it would be to learn how to learn like for me especially work the walk,
Hmm.
the temperature, the heat, the timing, and the endurance, like the endurance that you have to put through. Like
Yeah.
it's
It's
not easy.
crazy when you stand
Yeah,
in front of that like 4 hours straight and
yeah,
that flame and
yeah. You're like you are like the meat being cooked at the same time.
yeah, trust me, half of the time busy day as
Oh my goodness.
I'll look at the mirror as like my face all red after about 2 hours
Yeah.
and no and actually another thing I was thinking about doing is having some of my chef friends like we may do some
Mhm.
videos come and play my walk with me.
Yeah.
There will
Yeah.
be another video like
Let's
segment
walk
idea.
with you like that.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
walk.
another thing I'm thinking. But no, like I even told you that myself. Like I don't know how to take it with you and Ray in my kitchen. I'll be so nervous, like I
Oh,
will be shaking.
you would just have us one at a time because Ray
Oh
and
come
I
on!
we go different directions. Like we don't have that synchronicity. Like
Uh
we
oh.
don't. And I'm not like kidding. Like
Uh-huh.
like we just bump into each other all the time working. Like we
Mm.
still haven't figured out that synchronicity that like no. Mm-mm. No. He one at a
But
time.
you two
Yeah.
created one of the most signature restaurant name in Halifax
Oh.
with Studio East. But I don't want to jump the timeline now.
Okay. All right.
Let's go back to how you start at the farmers market. That
Yes.
where everybody notified like, oh my God, like notice this chef, she's so good, and all the stuff you were doing. And trust me, I actually been there few times, try your food, but you just didn't know me then. But
Okay.
I've been
You
there.
like it?
I've been there. So anyway, well, chef, sorry, I'm sorry. Now I'm gonna let you tell everybody about your journey,
That's
please.
okay. Um, yeah, so I actually as a kid worked on the farm. You know where Canada's Wonderland is? Right behind that. It was Highway 7. Do you know
Hmm.
where Canada's Wonderland is, Ivan Chef?
Sorry, I'm kind of reading James' comment there.
You are getting distracted.
It's James' fault. I just saw his comment. I gotta put it on the
That's
screen. Sorry.
hilarious. Okay, so I used to work for an Italian family farm picking
Okay.
vegetables, all
Okay.
kinds of vegetables, fava beans, different tomatoes, you name it, right?
Mm.
Loved it. I made that's the one where I could like buy clothing, like
Mm.
nice clothing to go to school. Um, and so I always loved the farm. Like, and even going back behind them, my parents are farmers.
Yep.
They are like farmers, like their
Mm.
family. We come from a farmer's generation. So it's always been in my blood. So when I stepped my foot on, actually I cried and cried, begged my mom so I could work on the farm. I was like 11 or 10 at the time. I was 10
Wow.
and they refused, and I just was so upset. And then when I turned 11, one day they said, "Okay, this girl is just let her go. She's not gonna like it. It's hard work." Like I
Yeah.
go to the
Farming's
farm
hard.
and I feel like this connection. There's crickets everywhere. This is when like there were no pesticides or any spray chemicals are being sprayed on our food, right?
Hmm.
So I've caught that period of time when there was no chemicals being used on this farm, and I see the transition as I continue to work there for 5 years every
Hmm.
summer.
Wow.
Um, it's and there were no more crickets at the end of it.
Talk
That's what
about stamina.
that's
That's a
yeah.
lot of stamina to actually
Yeah.
overwork like that.
So I love hearing the crickets and love seeing all that stuff. So I just felt an immediate connection, and not to brag, I can
You
pick
can brag.
faster. I can pick faster than the adults. Like this kid was like, uh, you know, Ray always says I'm very competitive in nature. I
Hmm.
am competitive in a good way. I'm always competing against myself. Like I don't think I can do this, but you know what? Let's just like
I don't know. I don't know about that. I
what?
like you being competitive. You're like one of the sweetest person. You won't even,
Oh, good.
like say anything to hurt a soul. So I don't know about
No,
that.
not that competitive. No, not no, not in that sense at all. No, like
Okay.
I always think the best of people. I want the best of
Yeah,
people.
I
I
know.
always naturally have the ability to see the good in the people, and that's
Okay.
always been my strength.
Hmm.
Um, and you know, it's a little bit oblivious sometimes, but that's okay. That's just part of who I am.
Hmm.
Sometimes when you want to just look at the good thing, you know, but when it comes to like, yeah, if we are, you know, you can grow the best this, you know, once we have someone doing the same things, like you can do better than this, you know, I'm always like excited about, you know, challenging myself more. I like that
Hmm.
competition. But yeah, so I've always visited farms, and when I was in Toronto, I left my job,
Hmm.
a corporate office job in HR. I worked for the bank for a long time, um, and part time, like since I was 18 until like I went to Ryerson, and then I continued to work for the bank in head office, and I decided it was just like I need to cook. I need really to cook. I need to do food. So I started doing food, and the first thing that kind of like led me easily was again like farming, like
Hmm.
you know, connecting with farmers market,
Back to the
going to the
roots.
farmers market and just getting excited about the fresh produce and the unique things that they can grow. Like, oh, you can grow this here. That's amazing. Like I seen like um, tomatillo being grown here. I'm like, that's like from Mexico, and like you know, it's like excited every time I see something that I don't know. I'm always excited that a farmer can grow it here because this perception of this tropical Asian girl doesn't can't believe it that we can grow things here for such a short season. So I didn't
Hmm.
really know a lot about even like working in the farm. I still like see things being grown and starting like you know, things being tilted, like the land being prepared, like March, April, and then this is such a short season that we have, and then we can grow all this stuff in 4 months is incredible to me. So always love that. Anyways, long story short, um,
Never too long. We want to hear it.
oh, I can just blah 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 and lose track of what I'm talking about, um, but I started to really connect with the food, local, sustainable food, of
Hmm.
having a deeper connection. And when I came to Halifax, you know, oh my goodness, the brewery market is was the best thing I've ever seen. Like since you know seeing the St. Lawrence market and
Okay.
seeing markets in Thailand that we had, it was just like this old farmers market that exists longest in anywhere in Canada. Like just like so much history and so
Hmm.
much. It was just like it just feel like I was at home when I went to the brewery market. And I said to Ray, when we, I'm like, this is like this is like a funnel of dreams, you know. You go through and you see
And
all
you're
these
living
people,
it.
like, but it's so old, you know, like the historical building is been preserved, and it's just like a movie. You know, you see these movies. It's like a movie to me. And I'm walking in there for the first time in 2010, and I just felt a sense of connection again. I'm like, you know, and you know, I said, oh, by the way, in 2010 in Halifax, you couldn't find a job if you had a degree, if you had like 10 years of experience in corporate HR. You couldn't find a job here. It was just like not really great opportunity for someone who's starting in Nova Scotia, right? Even if you knew people, it's just like everyone was like, I felt like there was not a lot of opportunities compared to Toronto. So that's when I'm like, you know what? Where he was like, you should do your curry at the market. I'm like, really? People would want my curry? He's like, yeah, it's like the best. I've had many curries. I'm like, your curry is like nothing I've ever tasted it, right? Um, so yeah, I did the curry, and it smelled the whole like the whole thing like just fill the air, and people just follow their noses to my stall. And of course, you know, being very excited about being there and having a booth, you know, just bringing your food and serving. I felt like I was my mom. It brought me back to my mom, because my mom, her first job was selling street food
Yep.
on the sidewalk, and it was me and my mom. We were making we would sell like banana fritters on the street, and we're like just below the tree, you know, just enough shade to keep you. And they brought me right back there, and I felt like I'm doing something really real, it's honest and it felt like me. So yeah, that's how I started, and people loved it. And we did a lot of different. I did a lot of different markets, and actually moved around a little bit, live in different places. Ended up in Calgary and did my curry again in Calgary and salad rolls. Of course, it's a farmers market, right? So you could really only focus on a few products. It's everything's made fresh there. Like my curry's made fresh. The curry paste from scratch, made there. Thank goodness to another booth that had like a commercial kitchen set up. I could do my curry paste and everything there, and then bring it to my stall and sell it and present it. But we also did like fresh salad rolls on the fly, like with like 18 different veggies. So I was working with like pulling from like different farmers like they're in the market to get all my produce. Like, hey, this is my tomatoes from my salad rolls, and it's just like this amazing connection and relationship with the other farmers. So I love
Is
I love it. Yeah.
is kind of how you bring up you make your curry from scratch, and how many young chefs this day would know what ingredients to make a real curry from scratch. That is so obvious. Like when you say that, I was like, yeah, like how many young chefs
Uh,
these days would know how to
yeah,
cook?
it's a love of labor. I mean, like, to make curry from lemongrass is different than make curry from peppers. And now,
Mm-hmm.
because lemongrass is like a bark. You have to really like pound the thing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you have no proper equipment to do it, like, anything commercial to like really break it down. So it's all by hand. And I started with a motor and pesto, which is my favorite thing ever. But when you're doing like hundreds and hundreds of pounds of curry,
Yep. Mm.
you just
Hard
wish
job.
you had a commercial kitchen that could just process it all and just magically appear and just go and cook. Because making the curry itself is very easy, but actually when you're making the curry paste that I make, because I don't think anybody puts as much lemongrass as I do in my curry. The hardest ingredient to break down. And then, of course, kaffir lime leaf is very,
Mm-hmm.
very fibrous as well. So when you're breaking it down, it's also really difficult to do that even in a Vitamix. Like how many Vitamix I broke just making my curry paste.
Oh,
And
trust
you
me,
hear it like there's like I've developed stages on how to process it by hand so that when it's finished, it's still a good product. So yeah. Anyway, that was fun.
I was that's bigger memories. Like a couple months ago, I actually burned one of my Vitamix because I was trying to grind like dry licorice.
Dry
how,
licorice.
how many how many people would try to do that? I was making my own licorice powder, and I didn't know what to do that day. I was like, okay, well let's put in the Vitamix, like, make it small, and then you know how stringy it is, and it just
Yeah.
won't grind, right? I was like, oh come on, let's go, and then they're like, oh my god, something
You
didn't
have to have a
burn it.
process, like
Yeah.
chop
So
it,
so
small
I
it.
was trying to do it
Yeah.
quick, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's put in a Vitamix, and then of course like where the blade is and all burned off. So I end up have to order a brand new cup
It's not
and
cheap. Yeah, breaking
nope,
equipment is the worst feeling, especially
nope.
it's the only thing you have, right?
Yeah, been
It's
there,
not.
done that. But this is the beauty of it. Like we know how to make those things from scratch, and rather than you look at Cisco and see what is available, we it's same thing. I mean, this is that feelings. Like as you're telling everybody a story, your curry. I always try to relate to myself, right? Like just like me, my sweet and sour sauce is from my grandmother. Like she used to be
Yeah.
a prep cook, and
Yeah.
every time I look at the sauce, I still look at how I when I was a kid I opened the fridge. There's always a mason jar there.
Yeah.
Like those are memories that you never forget, and those are
Yeah.
flavor like
It's your happy
it's
sauce.
that's my happy sauce, right? Like it's so unique, and I start to ask grandma, hey, what do you have in there? Stuff like that, and but those are the best stuff that lasts for a long time,
Yeah.
and food is an experience, and I think believe as a chef is also a very important experience and memories for us to create something for people like. to me, it's the most joyful feelings when you see people sitting there eating your food that you create and they love it.
Yeah, and
You
they
know,
tell
like,
their friends about it, and they're like, "Come and get that!
yep,
You gotta try this."
yeah,
And let you
that's
know
like the
it's
biggest
really good.
feeling. A lot
Yeah,
of people is like, "Oh wow, chef, you make all those faces." No, it's not. I just love seeing people love my food. You
yeah.
know, like money is always, of course, you want, it's a business after all, but that is the biggest thing for me, and I believe like you are the same way, just because you were brought up that way and know how to appreciate food. Like I grew up with my grandmother feeding us every weekend, like 15, 20 of us, and the feast and but this that feeling is about that memories, right? And that's really shown, how much you love what you do and how good you are, because even from a young age you're doing all those tasting, and then with your, all those great food your mother
Ruining
making.
my parents'
Well,
business.
hey, you
Yes.
know what? It's who can say you do not eat fast food until you're like 14th or 12, 14th? But like, only means that you have a lot of real food your whole life, right?
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, and you could really smell it too. Like, when you only have real food, you can actually smell the chemicals. Like everything tastes chemical to
Yep.
me, you know? When from the time I landed in Canada, had my first butter, which I threw up and threw out, it was like this, it tastes like chemical. Butter
Mm.
is not chemical, but it's
Mm.
just different kind of,
Yeah.
process the food is done in. But like everything tastes chemical to you, and it takes a long time. Like I didn't eat cheese until I was in my 20s because I just couldn't eat cheese. Like just it wasn't it didn't I didn't have a, like it's a lot of, I'm not I didn't come from like a family where we experienced all the, fancy food. I did this after I moved out. I started cooking, started making,
Hmm.
and like I said, I didn't cook. I'm self-taught, and then I learned along the way. I try to learn from anybody I work with, and as much as I could. And and this is how competitive I am. I'll be like, okay, Spruce tip. How many opportunities or potential can you find to make this, like different application timing, different time when you pick, different tree, like that's how competitive I am. Like, look, I got this tastes a lot better, this tree and this tree, like, so it's, it's a lot of fun, like, and that's nature's gift,
I
right?
would, sorry to cut you off, but it just come from my head that I would love to be listening to a conversation between you and Ray about some brand new ingredients. My God, that will be such a wonderful experience. Listen to you two
I
about
have more energy than he
creations.
does.
Pardon?
I have more energy than he does.
Oh, I'm gonna
Like he's like,
cut that
just
clip
shut
out and
up. Like,
send it to
stop
him.
talking. I'm trying to relax.
Oh
I
God!
talk
All
food
right.
all day long. Like I do.
I
I
just
cook.
cannot imagine how you two go at it will looks like, because you guys have probably unlimited amount of knowledge and techniques, and I
Right.
know how creative you both are, and it's like, wow, it's gonna be such an experience just to listen to you two go at it. But anyway, well, I'm gonna relax now, but let's talk about the next step. One of the most marquee name that you and Ray created in Halifax, the
Okay.
Studio East. And how was it come about to starting a restaurant with Ray? And of course, how successful you guys are to build that name. And can you share with us about that?
Yeah. So this was 2005, 2015. What we opened Studio East, and again, it came from the farmers market. So I was doing curry, salad rolls. We'll throw specials in and things like that at the farmers market. I was getting really like tired of curry, to be honest. And rolling salad rolls. Like those salad rolls are rolled the night before. I would be up. My shift would be like 12 o'clock at night. That's when I start the farmers market and at night in the market.
Hmm.
Doing the rolls were the most labor something,
Yeah,
right? Because they're made fresh. You can't make it earlier
yeah,
because it won't be
make
as
it
fresh the
dry.
next
Yeah, yeah.
day. But we have a technique on how to make it stay fresh, which
Hmm.
I don't think anybody knows. But
Oh, you
so
gotta
those
tell
salad
me
rolls can
someday.
last 3 days after it's been rolled, and it's
Hmm.
unheard of. But we figured a way how to do it because working with it so much.
Hmm.
But so I was getting bored. I was like, I want to make other foods. I want to do other things. So started throwing all kinds of like stuff that I was inspired by. Like would do like peanuts and ribs, like just fun stuff, different a little bit from, curry. And then one day I was like, I'm so tired. Like, I'm so tired of like hauling all this food because, like, the market, you didn't have like a setup where you can cook in it. Is a
Mm-hmm.
kiosk where you bring, it's just a table, right? You
Yep.
bring all your freshly cooked food. So imagine like cooking and then, you know, packing everything and then bringing it to the market and unpacking it. And then at the end of the night, you're packing again and you're breaking down again. You come back, you do it again. So it's very, very exhausting, right? It's like having, a restaurant on a mobile wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were doing like the steam buns, and I'm like, I'm so inspired to do this Momofuku steam buns. I've been
Yep.
wanting to do the steam bun forever. We
Mm-hmm.
were in Momofuku in 2011, and I had my
New
first
York or
New York,
Toronto?
New
Okay.
York, yeah. And I just couldn't stop thinking about those steam bun. And there's something that when I love something a lot, like really can't get it out of my mind, I have to make it, or I'm gonna go crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the creative part of me that's like brewing. Like if something I really want to get creative on, I need to
Mm-hmm.
express it. So we did the bao buns. I did the bao buns at the market, brewing market, and I haul everything. I went bring the big steamer and all the
Mm-hmm.
sauces, and it was just like
Mm-hmm.
so exhausting. Like, after at the end of the day, like, it's just so much work to
Yeah.
bring it all. And it was so good. Really love the combination of like the slaw that I made, gochujang slaw. What
Mm-hmm.
was else I did? It had my real plum sauce, which tastes like plum sauce from heaven. Sorry, we might have to compete on that one, Ivan. So I was like, I want plum sauce to like plum, like not like your. So I made this amazing plum sauce. It just everything just kind of came together beautifully, like execution wise and everything. It's like I need a restaurant. Like I really need a restaurant. I need to do this at a restaurant. I need to be able to like have specials and be able to throw things, see
Mm-hmm.
how people like it. People loved it. The bao buns, by the way. And yeah, that was just like, okay, that's it. I'm done. Like I need my own restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So and Ray's like, yeah, I can help you. Like I'll help you with this. This was never a project for him. This was my project. It was like
Mm-hmm.
in this lifetime, I need to have a restaurant. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if it's gonna run forever, but I need to have a restaurant. I want my own restaurant. So, and we can serve like all this fresh stuff that I've been like dreaming about. So, yeah, I came out there and I really wanted to be really simple. The concept of Studies was a melting pot of Asian fusion food. I know that
Mm-hmm.
sounds horrible, but everybody's
Not
doing
at
it right
all.
now. It's like always been, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I've always had this instinct of like what's going to be trending and what's acceptable. Like I've always knew that, okay, like fusion sound really bad in 2010, but in 2015 it's going to sound amazing because people can get bored. They
Yep.
taste all this food and they want things to kind of come together and make sense too, or doesn't make sense, but it's new and it's exciting, right?
Yep.
I've always been that person. I've always been, I think fusion had a bad name in the past, but now it's like normalized. Is it just me?
It
Like
is.
it's totally normalized. Like there's some stuff that people do like, oh, that'd be so offensive 10 years, ago, but now it's like, oh, it's so cool, right? So, yeah, it was a melting pot of Asian fusion and with marrying like the Thai, Cambodian, Vietnamese, and even Indian, Middle Eastern,
Mm-hmm.
like just a melting pot of Southeast Asian food. I love that. Of course, Japanese, Korean too, in
Mm-hmm.
that mix. So yeah, it was supposed to be very simple, but I think we kind of got a little too creative, like crazy. So, it was a little bit challenging to execute in a small kitchen, as you know, and I've never been a fan of small kitchens. I've always, like, I can't work in a small kitchen with six people, like me, like elbow to elbow, like,
Mm-hmm.
I could never do that. And I did find it really challenging to be able to produce such a creative product that no one's have been doing or cooks don't even know, and you're coming up with something it's new. So it's a lot of different new stuff that people haven't seen, um, or in the way that we did it here in
Mm-hmm.
Halifax. We're talking about Halifax here, right? Toronto, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, come on, Toronto is we've been doing that some sort of that stuff
Yeah,
similar,
it's been a
but
while.
not to extent of farm to table that we've been doing it. Like where you bring the pigs in from our farm,
Yeah.
bring the chicken in, so the feature chicken that we butcher that week would come in, and so we're able to proudly say, hey, we've got tonight's is our free range chicken that's raised on the farm, and we've got pigs for the month of March for Burger Week, or was in May or March, what month it was. So we were able to do things like that to be able to bring the farm to table to the concept of studios, which is something that we really wanted because couldn't find free range pork. People were laughing at me like free range pork, like
Raise
pork
them
that's
yourself.
free
That's what
range.
you
They
did.
live in
Yeah.
cage.
Yeah.
Like yeah. So I'm like no. I'm like no one's doing it because someone's got to do it, right? Like it's not
Yep.
impossible. So yeah, so we it took us from studies to buying a farm and starting our own farm and raising animals and starting to learn everything about the aspect of growing food, sustainable food. And it was a total, a total experiment, right? And we
And
learned
you
a
guys
lot.
love it so much, you guys end up moving it right to the farm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's hard 2 hours away for distance of having a farm that's 2 hours away from the restaurant, right? Like driving back and forth, that's 4 hours. And that's what we did for a while. It was like exhausting. 4 hours driving
Yeah.
and then working a whole shift all day. So yeah, but we did find our place. I did find my place growing food. Really
Hmm.
finally growing food and just knew that the right decision to sell and hand it off to somebody who was going to be excited as we are about the whole Asian food and big flavors.
Hmm.
Um, I think we found the right kids to do it. So they're kids then. Now they're chefs. They're creating wonderful things at studio right now. So we're really proud of them.
So, you just brought back on memories. When you guys are starting the farm, did Ray ever tell you that I messaged him? I want to start buying some pigeons.
Yeah, he did. Well, you said it. You
Yeah,
when
I did.
before
I was
COVID.
like, yeah, I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I need to buy some pigeons. I want to sell roast pigeons in my place.
Yeah, he was raising pigeons even before we had the farm
Yeah,
for pigeon race.
yeah.
It's crazy,
Because
man.
because I was telling Virginia, I said, yeah, Ray's doing some pigeons there, and she was like, yeah, I like some pigeons, and that's why I messaged him. I was like, yeah, like whenever you can sell me some pigeons, but it never happened because all those different things. But yeah, I
Yeah,
actually
well,
asked
yeah,
him
the
for
pandemic
pigeons.
came. I
Hmm.
remember walking to your restaurant before just actually a week after the pandemic or before I don't remember. Now it's all blurred in for all
Yeah,
of
it's
us,
all
right?
blurred
Last
in.
few
Yeah,
years. But you gave me a bottle of white kimchi.
my
Like
golden kimchi. Yeah,
this big, huge, gigantic bottle of kimchi. Like here, like you like my mom. Like here's kimchi. I was like, thanks, Dad. Like this is so amazing. Like I was so
I'm not
grateful.
that
I
old, guys.
never.
Sorry.
What's
Like
that?
it's okay. No, no, you just say thanks, Dad. I was like, I'm not that old. I'm
No,
not old
no, but like
enough. I'm just
I
kidding.
mean like, my mom would do that, right? She'd give me like
Hmm.
jars of like I'm like, that's just for me. Like I'm not it's gonna last me a whole year, right? But
Hmm.
I really appreciated that last time that was probably the last time we
It's
saw
been
you,
a
right?
while. It's
Isn't
been a
that
while.
crazy? three
Yeah.
years or over 3 years. And it
Hmm.
was white kimchi and you're like I was like I felt your like I was so shocked because I was like this is something that like us Cambodian people would do give someone a jar of like fermented
Hmm.
fish like put a
Hmm.
hook and
Yep.
that would be like a welcoming warming sign to say I love you like I appreciate you when someone gives you something like that. It lasted me for a whole year.
We really did.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Wow.
I had a lot of other things too. I couldn't eat the whole thing
Hmm.
myself. I'm the big kimchi eater, right, in the house.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
but it was amazing. It had like a lot of garlic, and you had white miso and
It's amazing. Yeah.
napa.
Yeah.
And when it sat for a longer time, the flavor got richer and richer
It
and
got
deeper and
really got
deeper.
stronger. Yeah.
I love that. It was so good on on rice.
Yep.
Just on rice.
Yep.
It was yummy. Yeah.
It's really different because it's not really overly spicy. I do have some chili peppers in there, Thai chili peppers in there,
No,
but
it was
I
not. It
try
was
not to have like a.
garlicly and sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was well, I was glad you would take it, but it's like I was
It
same
was
thing.
very
And
generous of you.
anytime every time you and Ray show up, I was like, oh my god, like what am I gonna feed them? Trust
Oh,
me, I was like, I get all nervous every time Ray comes in
no,
and you comes in,
you
and
just do your
you know,
thing.
I just do my thing. Everybody know me knows. I just want to do my thing.
Yeah,
I just, I really don't care a lot of time. It's just I'm just being me. That's all I do.
you are. You are.
Yeah.
You're amazing at what you do.
Thank you. Really appreciate
Yeah,
that.
your Peking duck, your steamed fish, phenomenal. Like when we
Thank you.
had the 12-course tasting at your place with
Yeah.
Tim,
Yeah, Tim. Yeah.
Tim Pratt, I almost died on the eighth course. No, no, seriously. I was like, this has never happened to me. I'm the kind of person that could eat like for like four people. Like just ask Ray,
I
right?
don't believe that. Look
No,
at
no,
you.
like I seriously, I'm not even kidding. I don't know how I have a way of hiding it, right? But I thought I could do it at your tasting. Like I didn't eat anything the whole day. Came
Hmm.
on purpose with empty stomach. Eighth course, I was dying. I was gonna faint. I'm like Ray. I'm like, I'm not. I'm so full. I can't even breathe. Like I'm gonna faint. Like I'm not exaggerating it anyway. This is the first time in my entire life where I was gonna faint. Like I was going to like, and I had to like. It took every like mental, strength and physical strength to like just, like this is gonna be the most embarrassing thing ever in my life. When I pass over at your, like seriously.
Hmm.
But I was like so regretful because there was like more amazing courses that came, and
Yeah.
it was like steamed fish. I was like, I couldn't even like. I really wanted to eat more.
Hmm.
I was like, oh my god! I'm
I
like,
get
just
that a
paying
lot.
for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite. Yeah, your steamed fish is amazing, and your Peking duck is
The Peking duck is
yeah.
4 or 5 years of changing and tasting and testing
Oh
and
yeah.
get to it, get to it these days. And actually, next time you and Ray in town, you guys should let me know ahead of time. And
Well, no
it's been
pressure.
improved a lot in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Swear to God. Yeah, like my duck have been get to the point that I always dreamed to get to.
See, that's the thing, right? It's like I we always talk about this because I'm never 100% happy with my recipe. I was like, oh, there's always something. It's never perfect. Like it
Yeah,
always could be better. And I think that's what
always.
makes a great chef. It's like people ask me like, why do you keep working on the same stuff over and over? I'm like, I think there's something else to it. That thinks there's I can take it this way.
That's
I
what
can
we
do this
do.
more,
That's what we
right?
do. Yeah.
Yeah. You just keep playing. It's like a piece of art that you just continue to play around with and find more joy and find more things to appreciate about it, that you haven't already explored.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like just tonight, like my daughter is really into art. Like she keeps drawing all the time. She can do all those amazing drawings, and she asked me tonight. She's like, "Hey, Dad, like, what kind of art are you good at?" I was like, "No, I'm not good at drawing stuff. No, Daddy's not good
Yeah.
at it." She turned around. She, but Dad, you're really good at the food art.
Mm-hmm.
I almost bore out crying.
Yeah.
Like she was like,
Yeah.
Dad, you're really good at food art. Like my 7 year old understand that what we do is an art form for us, right? And
Yeah.
I was so touched by it when she said that, and but that's what we love to do, and that's
It
what
took
we set
me,
out to do.
yeah. Well, it took me a long time to realize that I was artistic. I never knew that I was artistic. I thought I was just like, I knew I was an appreciator. I'm a big appreciator. I love things. Like
Hmm.
that's probably one of the most challenging, but maybe because I love everything. Like I could be walking outside and it's raining and I love the rain. Like today is like
Yep.
I want to be in the rain. I just want to take the rain. I want to, like I always find things to, and it's not something that uh, you work at it. You work at appreciating it because
Yep.
sometimes you're there for too long, whether you're cooking the same food or being
Hmm.
in the same creative life. You need to kind of be excited about things, right? So, but yeah, same. It took me a long time to realize like I'm actually artistic. Like, why am I constantly tweaking, exploring, and playing around with one ingredient? Like, isn't that just boring? It's not boring when you understand there's so much potential to explore with this ingredient because there's so many ways and so many times makes it different, or application techniques. So yeah, I feel like
It's kind of funny because
yeah,
this is a typical conversation me and my wife have at
is
least a
it
few times a month. She'll be
really?
like, I'm like struggling, like, I'm gonna get this better, how to get this better. My wife's like, what are you struggling here? You know, like it's already so good. Why do you want to make better? Like people don't probably doesn't realize how much better you gotten, right? Like people don't know. But I look at my wife and say, hey, you know what? It's not for anybody. It's for myself.
Yeah, you
I
realize
cannot
that, right?
stop,
Yeah,
right? Like she told me all the time. Every time I get struggling, oh, I gotta make this better. No, no, no. So it's like customer is not gonna. It's not gonna. You're gonna recognize how much better it is. Like you get into that point. Why are
yeah,
you struggling? Like she is like just don't like seeing me suffer, but I suffer all the time, and it's like oh my god, like how can I make this better? Like it's it's something that I think after almost over 15 minutes talking to you,
mm-hmm.
one line
It
will
goes by so
sum it
fast
up.
and you're having fun.
Yeah, and it's cooked from your heart.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah,
it's cooked from your heart,
yeah.
and it's that feelings that fulfill your own heart. And a lot of people doesn't realize that. Like people like us, we just chase and chase, and people look at us as like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to yourself?" But
Mm-hmm.
you know what? This is what we love. That's what we strive for.
Yeah. And
You
sometimes it
know,
seems like a struggle, but it's not
it
really.
is.
It's
Even my
just like
wife kind of like, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But anyway, let's go to the current stage now. You know, you're doing
Oh, we have
your
8 minutes.
exercise every day. You're living at the farm. You know, posting all those outdoor pictures. You're working out and all
It
your
sounds like I'm
fitness
doing a
stuff.
lot, but I'm not.
You've been full. You know what? It's an experience. It is. I start this podcast to share some of my friends' journey, right? Like it's a really good way. I want everybody watching. It's going to be on YouTube to say, hey, you know what? This chefs, look at this. But everyone is different, right? Like because your family, you always want to do this, but you went to school and then you start cooking. You look at last episode, Lauren. Lauren want to cook from get go, right? So influenced by her grandfather. There's a lot of story people do not see. They only see us from outside. Oh, you are a chef. You cook, but they do not understand. There's a lot of struggle.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sweat every single day to get to do what we do, and we love every second of it. A lot of people do not realize that, but it just
And yeah,
it's
bless you if you do love every second of it.
I
Will
do.
you have the freedom to create what you want, like what you imagine, what you're thinking, and you're able to bring it out, to on a plate. That is a very satisfying feeling, right? When you have that creativity and that
Yep,
freedom. I think that as true chef, we all want that. We all
we do.
crave for that, and that's something that we wanted to create at Kiswick Rich for ourselves, and also to be able to bring chefs to be
Hmm.
inspired by the growing of the food, where the food comes from, the sustainability of it, being able to control the quality of the
Yep,
of
most
the
definitely.
food, and pick it at peak time where it's high nutrition, and the flavor is fully, you know, there at that peak time, prime time of peak of flavors, and everything that surrounds it takes to produce that food, right? Like the animals,
Hmm.
contributes. So using permaculture as a principle to really manage the land, to develop the space that we're working in, and being in harmony with what we're being a part of, right? Because it's different when you're in a city, um, and you're in a farm and you're cooking.
Yeah.
It's a complete um, other level of a deep appreciation, also discovery of yourself and the land. Um, so that's what we want. That's what I really wanted. I always envisioned that as soon as I knew I was cooking, as soon as I started cooking, I always knew that I wanted a farm. I wanted to
Well,
grow my own
you
food.
you got it, and you seems to be loving it, and like your
Well, yeah,
daughter's
it's a
posting
lot of
regularly.
learning, a lot
Hmm.
of learning, and self-discovery. I think nature truly does, as you put it, that it really does when you are have the ability to reconnect with nature, you become a better person and a better whatever you're doing, chef, you're artist, in other forms. You do really, nature is very powerful, and it can really help you to become whole, and that's how I feel about being able to live in a place where you're a part of it. You're not,
So
you're
jealous.
contributing to it. You're playing with it. You're integrating yourself into nature, um, with the land, the soil, all the amazing things that really gives you life. The senses of smell and the humidity, the dryness, the sun, the just is we're like a plant, like we're a
Hmm.
plant, right? That's how I see it. We're if we look at ourselves as like we're a plant, and we understand that we need to connect with other plants.
That's a
We
good
need
way to
sun, we
put it.
need
Yeah.
air, we need water, we need all those things. And that comes to wellness is what I really wanted to kind of really, if it's the last thing that people would hear from me on here, is that wellness is everything. Wellness is your state of mind, your mindset. Wellness is awareness, about yourself and the things around you that nurtures you. Like I'm constantly, took me a long time. Like really, when you live in the city, and a lot of people couldn't probably appreciate this, is you lose that connection, and you start to not appreciate things. You start to take things for granted. Like food is here, okay, it's here. Like
Yeah.
it arrived. It's magical, right? But when you live on a farm, you see life and death every day. You see, the struggling pig, or you see the one that strives to eat the most, and it's survival of the fittest. It's part of life, and you see things thriving, especially, like you makes your heart full, right? Like, that you're giving life to this animal, and they wouldn't have it if you didn't give life to it, and they have the best life. And when you take from it, at the end of their life, you really, um, you really feel grateful and blessed and thankful. So I think it's nurturing the heart. It's nurturing the 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 great gratitude. Like that was one of my biggest wish, is to be on this land. Is like, if I had nothing, no money, nothing, um, if I just have gratitude, I feel this sense of gratitude fulfilled me, enriches me. That would be the best thing that could ever happen to me. Like the ability to nurture that and continue to nurture it, and to naturally, um, have it, like it's a part of you. It's always been a part of you, but we know the way we grew up in the city, we lose that
Yeah.
connection. And so, that is, you know, not probably what, people expect people to come into a chef position and go into the farm, and all of a sudden, like, you know, oh my goodness, like my heart is full. Like I'm grateful for everything. I'm constantly like counting all my gratitudes, like all my blessings. Like the rain came, the sun rise, the sun is ceased. Like it's just, and that's one thing that, as a chef, when you work on that, you can become better. And I plan on, I'm just getting started.
I
I'm
mean,
I'm just learning. Like I feel like I'm just in elementary school or preschool, and if I can do this until I'm 105 or 120 years old, I would love it. Like it's not a race to be the best or be good at something. It's it's having that, being grateful first, and everything that you do is beautiful. Like, so, and of course, you love yourself more when you can really feel grateful for every little thing, right? Like something I've been practicing in the city was this, and I had a really hard time because, and I can really empathize with people who live in the city and don't have a lot of access to nature. But if it's one thing that really helps, is connecting to nature, like going for walks and listening to the birds chirp, and watching the sunrise, or chasing the stars. Watch, it's it's really magical, and it doesn't, it comes slowly. It's something that you don't realize, and it comes slowly. But I can guarantee you, if your goal is to be happier, live a healthier life, is to practice being more grateful, like for everything, and feeling it in your
You're
and
really making me emotional because I don't know if you guys can see on camera. I actually have a little tears on my eyes.
oh,
It's from the bottom of my heart that speech that you just have. I really think every chef should listen to it. That should be the most, how would I put it, significant line that they listen to. What is, we have so many chefs out there. I cannot put myself in up at that level, but it's like what I see is they want to do certain things. They want to do certain things like this fancy, like okay, make it thing fancy with some smoke, dry ice, and all that. But you know what? At the end, it's back to the most basic things that you
yeah,
just described.
it is. It is.
Is the most basic thing, which is
Yeah.
the most touching and most memorable, and make your heart fulfill with a positive feelings. And you really did. I really really touched by that speech, and I've been I've been there. I've been chasing the dreams, and
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm getting to the point. It's like, you know what? I am so tired of it.
Yeah.
And all I care is about my family and my kids right now, and I have so much struggle as I want to climb. I want to climb, and I I got it. So what? What's next?
Yeah.
There's
It's
no
always the
what
next.
next.
Yes. Yeah.
What's next? Like
Yeah.
I tell myself, what's next? Being in Nova Scotia, being in Halifax, what's next? Right? But it's getting to the point is, no. Next is about family and what you achieve as a chef. And like I said, I still enjoy every moment of it. Yes, there's a lot of struggle, but on the other hand, it's so admire what you are doing right now. Just because not everybody will have the opportunity to do what you do, and it's hard to
Yeah.
let go. Yeah, it's really hard to let go what you have, and for you and Ray created that amazing name, and then you two let go, went to the farm, want to go to that kind of life. Not everybody would have the courage to do that, and you done it.
Oh, I feel like there is this pivotal moment of human awakeness that where people are waking up in the last, especially COVID, intensifies it. We're
Hmm.
searching for
Uh,
that, what it is that your heart fulfills your heart, right? Um, and I think people are really looking inside and finding that. And I'm very hopeful. I'm a very optimistic person. Like I said, I see,
yeah. You are positive.
if I look at you, I see all these amazing things, like your dreams, your wish, your hopes, um, you know, and I hold it for you. I hold there for you, for that
Hmm.
thing to happen for you. But also recognize that this moment that we're talking right now is the ability to connect and touch each other. It's
Hmm.
also a very, one thing I want to say, probably the best thing you've ever done, like that I've, personally seen. I'm only seeing you on social media and things like that, work and creating things, and your amazing 12 courses, thing that you're doing. It's great. I think that what you're doing here with you and I talking is what we're missing, is that
It
connection,
is.
chef to chef connection, is a support system
Hmm.
that could really elevate, help. I mean, like, there's certainly a certain level where you like are texting each other, and that's why I don't do that anymore. I like, call me, talk to me, like, if you want to talk to
Yep.
me, just call me.
I hate texting.
FaceTime
No,
me.
I hate it.
um don't feel like you ever like are bothering me, like just
Hmm.
FaceTime me or something, like you need to like say something. I'm trying to be a better listener. That's like something I've been working on, is like
Hmm.
stop talking, start listening.
Hmm.
um but I think what you're doing here is very powerful and very meaningful.
Thank you.
um and I think you should continue with this.
I am gonna
And feel
try. I
it.
mean,
Feel
right
it.
now we just started. This is only the third episode.
Yeah.
We still we're making some name out there, but I hope there is people that I talked to already that would love to be part of this. I mean, I can spoil it. I talked to Gina from Luckett, and Gina says you want to do one, and
Yeah.
so I just want to share the
Wonderful.
story
Yeah.
because there's a lot of different story that people need to know, like the story behind the scene. Like,
Yeah.
it's all look gory, and man, like they come into my restaurant. Oh, look at chef, you want this, you want this. Oh, look at your food. And you know what? Like you have no idea how much struggle I go through. And to get to what it is, and to me, and that's why like you are one when I start decided to do this. You are one of the first that I put on my list because I just admire what you are doing a
Yeah,
million
thank you.
times. It's
Thank
it's
you.
it's
And we
hard to let
inspire each
go.
other. Like we inspire each other.
Yeah.
I think this is another level of connecting with. I'd love to do what you're doing, talking to everybody, because I love talking to people. I
Yeah.
really do.
Hmm.
I'm not great like posting things, but like I really like the face-to-face, one-on-one
Mm.
conversation, and I think me learning how to listen better, like just listen better, be attentive. Um, that's part of appreciating that moment that they're sharing with you.
Mm.
The things that you're sharing. But I think this is brilliant. Like it's
I
brilliant. Like I'm
I
not
plan to.
even,
I
and I
plan
was
to
so
do an
surprised
episode. I
though
plan to
that
do
you have
an
the
episode
time.
and then bring everybody back. Like I
Yeah,
plan to do one like everybody back. Hey, you know what?
and then we can
How
have a
was?
party.
Yeah, we're gonna have a little party chat.
Yeah,
Like how was it? Like like how have you hear anything, and stuff
yeah,
like that. But anyway, um,
yeah.
so
Thank you.
thank you. And I have couple questions that I usually ask.
We're over time, by the way.
It doesn't matter. Like I don't have a time limit. But this is a question that I think you will give me some really interesting answer. One of the questions
Okay.
that I've been asking every guest:
Oh goodness.
who you want to cook with? Please do not say Ray Bear.
Oh no, I don't want to cook with him.
Uh oh. Uh oh. I'm getting a message from Ray tomorrow. Why you keep bringing my name up?
Oh God. I mean, I want him to teach me his plating techniques and things like that, but he has never had time, to be honest. He is a genius,
He
like
is.
of
He is.
plating. I mean, besides flavor, I mean, he's
Mhm.
got it all, right?
He
But like,
scared me when he
he's
messaged
an
me to do a
artist.
dinner together. I'm serious. He really scared me when he's
When
messaged
he's on
me.
fire and he's got no stress and he's just on this, like you're a painter, you have this board and no one's bothering you, you just paint. He's
Yep.
like Michelangelo, like
Yeah, he
literally, like
is.
like I'm not like that good at it for some reason, and I know why because I've been
Hmm.
focusing on flavors so much. I'm so obsessed with flavors
I'm the
that I
same
just
way.
I just like work. I don't have that kind of like I think about the presentation glass, right? So I'm really actually very interested in the raw vegan, not raw, but by the way, raw food movement is the reason why I'm cooking today.
Hmm.
When I tasted raw food in 2008, that was just the beginning of raw food and vegan food following that trend. For the first time in my life, I've had the most purest, honest food in my life. And now it's like, okay, this is the reason why I'm staying in food because this is real food. This is what food should taste like. It's
Hmm.
nutritious. It's pure. It hasn't been like it's when you talk about raw food, you're eating really the highest, freshest level of food, right?
Hmm.
And the things that we process so much of, we forget how real food tastes like. So, anyways, just to start that.
I
But in
think I
terms
know
of
the answer now, in a way. I don't know if
food,
I'm guessing. Well,
what you
you
would
just mentioned vegan food, so I don't know.
So, I would love to collaborate with any farm to table chefs, honestly, who
Hmm.
really have that connection to like, growing food and picking it and
Hmm.
using it in season. I don't have like, like
You have
I'm
to
like
give me a name, though.
I don't because see I'm not that person who's like I'm not like very like specific about a chef, but just someone who's a good good energy and chemistry
Mm-hmm.
that we cook together and
Mm-hmm.
collaborate with, we have
Mm-hmm.
good chemistry, yeah, it's
Okay.
on. I think that's important when you're collaborating,
Yeah.
that you have good chemistry, and then the
Okay.
food that you're doing is like um similar somewhat, where you like if it's farm to table, for
Mm-hmm.
me, like game on. Retreat, anywhere beautiful retreat. There's this place that I've been following for a while now. It's called Sky Dance Farm.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Misha,
Mm-hmm.
and she grows her own flowers and vegetables. It's very small. It's nonprofit.
Okay.
She just actually sold her homestead and then bought a bigger, beautiful property in Virginia,
Okay.
Massachusetts. Beautiful. You look out and you see like just mountains and like you're in heaven, basically. I love to go to places and cook there. So what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm getting ready for myself to do pop-ups. Like I want to do pop-ups. I don't want to have any restaurants at this point, but I love to do pop-ups and collaborate um,
You know
for
I'm
fun.
always up for it if you want to
Yeah,
play.
for fun. And
Mm-hmm.
it's fun. Like it's all fun. Food to me has got to be fun. It's not about
Yeah.
filling seats because we have to fill seats. It's about like let's create the excitement. Um,
But
you
I
know,
thought Ray is so serious about cooking though.
I
Everyone
don't
tell
know.
me
You have to talk
Ray
to
is
him. I
really
don't know. I don't
intense
know what
about
he's
cooking.
thinking.
All right, all right. I gotta shut up. I gotta shut up. I'm in trouble
You
now.
don't think you think I'm serious?
No, you're not. Like, but you are serious about doing it right, right? When I say
Yeah,
serious,
I'm a
it's
bit
not
of.
serious being like rude or anything, really aggressive. I mean serious, mean like you're laser focused on towards the food, right? And that's what I've been told how Chef Ray Bear is, and I know that's how you are, and but but how good you are, like you have to. I believe personally, you
I'm
have to
just
be that way.
starting. Like I'm the underdog, okay? So I'm
Yeah,
learning everything
lever,
all over
lever.
again. I'm learning how to cook again. Like we had this, I've been focused on the farm and just like
Mm-hmm.
really growing food, and now I know what I
Mm-hmm.
can grow and what I can create and or continue to
Mm-hmm.
nurture that.
Mm-hmm.
Is I really want to cook on a high level, like really, really, really stripping all the layers and ingredients down, make it more simple, but
Okay.
flavor, like natural, like true. It's easier to cook with when you put ingredients in. You just Asian cuisine. Like that's where I came from. Like I'm judging
Mm-hmm.
myself now because I know that's what I used to do is layers as much flavor as we can, and who it's a competition of whose food is more flavorful, and that's been a
Mm-hmm.
Cambodian culture that I grew up, in. Like we go to house parties and everyone's like, she made similar. Mine's better, and mine's more flavor. I got this mother fish, and da, 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 da. It's
Mm-hmm.
like that's Cambodian. Like that's Cambodian
Okay.
moms always competing each other. Like who can make the best stew or the
Oh.
best curry or the best thing, and it's like the more flavor, the more things you add, the better it gets. But
Okay.
I need to get out of that. I need to kind of simplify. Okay, let's look at an ingredient and appreciate it, like celebrate it for its purest form instead of
Mm-hmm.
trying to like layer so much flavor. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think when you start to want to appreciate the actual ingredient itself and taste the ingredient, it's harder to cook that way. I think it's more
It
challenging. So
is.
I like that challenge. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with all the crazy flavors that I grew
Nope,
up
not at
in.
all.
It's just something I realized that I need to step back and do food that way.
Yes.
And so yeah, I've been super super like I've been cooking every day, like every
Mm.
day, experimenting, doing all different things. I don't share a lot of it because I'm experimenting,
I
and
cannot wait
sometimes,
to start sharing stuff. I want to see.
well, the thing is, when you're not sharing, you can keep it yourself, and there's no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
Like
I see
you
what
can
you mean.
screw up, and then nobody. Like, I show sometimes things that I screw up. I'm not afraid not to show things that didn't go wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
still don't know how interesting that would be for people to
Yeah.
look at, But yeah, I I'm I know that for a while when I was doing the gardening and learning
Mm-hmm.
how to grow and doing permaculture
Mm-hmm.
principles, applying everything I learned. Um, I was kind of like, oh, maybe I'm not a chef. I'm not that creative. I'm not good at this. I'm not as good as that. I'm not good like him or her.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I removed all that, I said, every day you wake up, what do you want to do? Cook. 5 o'clock in the morning, you see me in the kitchen cooking. the first thing I was still in my pajama. I don't know that that happens to you, but I think that's a good sign, like that,
Mm.
that I'm getting that excitement back, and it's always in me. Like sometimes you doubt yourself if this is something
Mm.
that you're really good at, or some. Who cares if you're good at it? You know what I mean? Like, who cares if you're not the best at it? If you're excited about it and you're passionate about it, you're gonna find your way to do it. So that's how I feel. Like, it's it's about being
It's that honesty about what do you believe in, the
yeah,
flavor that you present, whoever eating your food. That's
yeah,
what matters. A lot of people don't get it. Like, like,
yeah,
I'm not here to satisfy anybody. I just want people eat my food knowing how much work and the flavor profile I try to present is
yeah,
is no right or wrong. I always say there's no right or wrong. Like I have like staff say to me, chef, like your food is good, bad. Like, I just told one of my chefs the other day, I said it's not about my food is good or bad. It's about people who walk through the door of my restaurant. They come in, they have a good experience. Does it if they like it, does it mean my food's better? No. It just means their palate fit my type of cooking. It's all about adapting for whatever who you're
yeah,
serving. No,
yeah,
it's no comparison to who and who at the end of it. A lot of people don't really get that, but I mean, but you're obviously doing it because you are doing something you believe that make you happy,
yeah,
and
exactly.
that's why,
Yeah,
like, that honesty and that wellness that you're experiencing right now
yeah,
is a lot of chefs should listen to your story and say, hey, you know what, stop doing all those crazy things, doing the most simple stuff and stuff like that.
yeah.
Th- th-
I think we're getting to that. Like, getting to the simplicity of food, and finding joy in the simple food, and not trying to outdo yourself, outdo another chef, or outdo another restaurant. Like, just really being yourself. Yeah, like you said, that's where people can really feel you.
yeah.
You're not pretending to
If
be.
people see my video is being turned off because the battery of my camera just die. I'm in the process of changing the battery right now,
We're at
and
almost an hour and 15 minutes, so
you know what?
I know
I
it's
really don't care about how long. Is all about we send out that message
yeah,
that we
yeah.
want to
I'm
send
just
out. I'm
teasing
back.
you,
Batteries
seeing
changed.
how well you're doing as an
But
interviewer.
no, no, no. I just really grateful. Is that message. Like right now, I have some footage that if any young chef say, chef, what? People ask me things all the time. I say, hey, just go back and listen to those friends of mine about their perspective about cooking. That was
Yeah.
really ignite you and learn, maybe help them to search what they want to do, which I think a lot of young chefs come up these days do not quite understand what they want to do. And I think,
Well,
you know,
it's a hard industry. W- you know, like we're like old school. Like,
we
we're
are.
taught in a very different environment than the new generation,
Yes.
and not having a lot of leadership, because we're just like, taught to do what you're supposed to do, right? Like,
Family first.
follow. Yeah, yeah. Um, so there is a huge opportunity for us chefs, to really teach and show these young. I'm not talking about like food content creators, like who are just creating content. I'm talking about like real chefs that want to make this their
The
career.
real working chefs.
Right, we're working chefs. Yeah, nothing wrong with content creators. Like,
Nope,
your
not wrong with that.
ideas
Hmm.
are great. Like, it's inspiring. See
Hmm.
some things that I'm like, oh, this is, you know, interesting. But
Hmm.
um, but I think there's a new direction. I feel a sense of hope, like a big sense of hope for new chefs, but for for us, older generation chefs, to really find our balance, find our wellness and happiness, and then we can continue to show and teach ourselves, but also teach younger, those are coming into the industry, because there's a huge gap of not having It's a crazy industry right now, right? In the
It
restaurant,
is.
it's
It's a
crazy.
madness
There's
right
like,
now.
where are we? Like, it's scrambled, right?
Hmm.
You know, and there's not a lot of chefs cooking at 50.
Mm.
By the time you reach the burnout, and it's a big. That's another complete different subject. But I think going back to what we are saying about like uh, finding wellness. The word balance is what I used to use before, but I think the
Hmm.
word wellness speaks to people better. They think about not just not just your happiness, but your mindset, your state of mind, where you are, how you're taking care of yourself. Um, and I like to see people cooking more food that is nourishing, right? Like
Yeah.
nourishing food to the soul, that and questioning a lot of the ingredients that we're using, what's better. And that's something that I do a lot. Is I take a really delicious dish, recipe, or whatever it is that I really love, and I break it down and say, like, how can I make this more healthier and nutritious? Yes, there are times where I want to eat a chocolate chip cookie. Like yesterday, I made like chocolate chip cookie. I ate four or
Yep.
five, and today I had three in the morning. It was so
Yeah.
good. I mean, that's just a treat once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
You got to give yourself that treat. But yeah, the other thing is, it's not just the flavors and how good it looks, but it's also about the nutrition of the food and the quality of the food,
Hmm.
right? And food is expensive,
It
right?
is.
And
It can be
so
worse. Yeah.
it's a really hard balance for restaurant. But I think that um, the reason why I want to be doing pop-ups and things like that is that it's an opportunity to go to a farm and to showcase what's being grown and
Hmm.
connect to that, and you can really have the opportunity to work with other producers, farmers, and bring those ingredients, and then really showcasing it. But what we're winning right now is that as food prices goes up, like the garbage that comes into Canada, imported food, we as farmers can compete now,
Yeah.
because we can produce that food higher quality
Yep.
and possibly the same, matching the price, but the quality is unmatched. And that's what people are realizing. Like, you're buying a $5.99 cauliflower coming from Mexico, or the States, and you're getting locally grown cauliflower for the same price or less from a farmer's market that's grown here. You're just like, it's a scam. Like, it's been a
It
scam
is.
this whole time.
Hmm.
It's just they were luring us with cheap prices to not encourage farmers to grow, and this is corrupt. Like, it's
Yep.
it's it's completely backwards of how a community needs to sustain itself through with food, and food connects community together, right?
Yep.
So as a chef, we're thinking about, like I've been in thinking this and doing this for a long time. But as newer chefs comes in and they see us doing these things, I think it's an example that we can set, and that we can show them a better way than what we're,
Brilliant.
yeah, that we were kind of, you know not shown before, through other generations of farmers or other generations of chefs.
Yep.
So I think it's a strong way to rebuild the
Okay.
this
That's a really good
career.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the opportunity to rebuild, but we need to be able to do that. Like, take
The
care of
chef
ourselves
need to
first.
able to push it too. It just with the
Yeah,
economy right now, it's gonna be hard
yeah,
because of how hard it is. But that's a definitely good point that I just love. That brilliant idea because like the real local farmer can compete now, rather than like we used to try to source your stuff. You turn around and say, "Oh my God, like I wish I can get local," and then you look at the price, like, "Yeah, I cannot do it." But
yeah,
right now, with how high the generic foods are,
yeah.
it
It's
is
it's
really closing that gap. And
yeah.
yeah,
And
that's a
that's when we
brilliant
where we
point.
win. We always talked about it. We always knew this. Like, as
Yep.
I always knew this, because I was like, watch when the imported cheap dump food from the States comes in
Mm-hmm.
here. Um, Watch how long they can actually keep their price at that
Yeah.
price. Just watch. And it's taken 20 years, 23 years,
Yeah.
um, you know, up till COVID happened,
Mm-hmm.
that these prices went up, and we see exactly what I've been kind of observing and talking to other farmers uh, and other food activists, that this is not going to, this is not sustainable. It's not going to be like this. It's going to go up because, as you know, inflation and economy and corporations as they dominate the food space, and it's owned by a couple companies. They can sell whatever price they
Yeah.
want. You even look at grocery stores. How many chains are there in Nova Scotia?
It's the
How many food
monopolize
chains?
of the market.
It's so
People really
monopolized.
doing
So
all
then
that.
they
Yeah.
can control the price.
Yeah.
But you know what? F you. We're gonna we're gonna grow it ourselves. And
Yeah.
I and, and,
Good
and I
point.
think a lot of um, a lot of people are looking to that, and that's a big win. Like it's a wake up
It is.
call. It's like you don't have a choice. Hey, where can I get this stuff in my local farmers market or at a
And
food
we have the
stand?
resource in Nova Scotia to do it.
We have more food
We do.
farm markets than anywhere per capita in Canada. So we're very lucky, very
Mm.
lucky. They're small farmers, so but yeah, it's something that we can look at it pause from that positive angle is that we have an advantage here, not the people that's trying to screw us. So
This tonight, um, it was supposed to be you and me share your journey, but
hmm,
I think it's turned into, to me, it's like educational pieces
yeah,
that
and
every
that's
chef
important.
need to listen to, because that will really heal their soul when they are kind of working up as a new chef, and they all need to listen to this, like what you said tonight. And by the way, thank you so much. And I did not expect this at the beginning when we chat, and it seems like just that connection you and me have about our background, what we believe, and everything just connects, and we just keep going. And
Yeah, we
there's
can
no
just
time
keep.
limits. I just hope
Yeah,
everybody listening or will be watching later understand what the message that we try to send out, and
yeah.
hopefully people will realize, how great you are,
Oh,
and other chefs see, hey,
you are.
she's looking for popped up. You guys may want to flood her mailbox now. She is out and above again, guys. She's open to
I'm
pop
getting
ups. So,
ready, getting ready.
oh, sorry,
I'm
I
getting ready.
but
I like
no,
the
no.
challenge.
Thanks again, Jeff. Really,
Yeah,
really grateful that you're
thank you.
willing to help me do this tonight. And I'm going to change the screen to next week. Next week, I'll be interviewing Chef Jamie. A lot of people would know Jamie, been a chef for a long time, and he started the Coda Ramen. While he was Water and Bone, Coda Ramen, and then he started Drift. With all those crazy things happening in waterfront right now, but I really think Jamie had one of the story as a friend, as a really close friend, that a lot of people little listen to him because Jamie gave up his job, which is, one of the biggest dream job he had, just because he put his family first. And a lot of people may not know it. Like Jamie, I don't know. I don't even ask Jamie if I can tell everybody this, but he really left Drift because of his kid. And I think there is no bigger person as a chef. It's that's why I said earlier. It's gonna be really hard to let go. Jamie let go because he cared about his kids. So please, if anyone want to come and listen to another great chef story, we have another one in store for you. So next Monday. Again, thank you, Chef, for joining me tonight, and I'll see you guys next week and Monday at 9:30 p.m. again.
Take care,
And
everyone.
thank you, everybody, and have a
Thank you,
good night.
Chef.